Betsy and Thomas here for the American Intelligence Media, where today we are decoding the Trump tweets from the end of the day, June 15th, and the beginning of the day on June 16th. Also, a word for folks who are trying to figure out how to navigate our sites and where we're all located. Our main website is aimfortruth.org. And on that website, if you just stumble upon one of the articles and pull out and don't go into the homepage, you are going to miss the incredible work we've done over several years. We have dozens and dozens of deeply researched citizen intelligence reports, and many times they link directly with our partner, Americans for Innovation, who has been doing an extensive crime line of corruption around the country. I think he's been doing that for like 17, 18 years now. Yeah. You're not going to find a resource like this anywhere on the net, and it's not going to be delivered to you by YouTube and Google. No, they're going to make sure that you don't see our sites. We're also affiliated with patriotsfortruth.org. And then if you like to get these Trump tweets and you want to have a whole package in your email box every day and not miss anything, then subscribe to truthbits.blog, and then you'll get these delivered to you, and they're easy to push out to when they're in one URL. So sorry for that, but so many folks have been asking lately, and I wanted to clarify it. Ready? Set? Go. The Democrats are forcing the breakup of families at the border with their horrible and cruel legislative agenda. Any immigration bill must have full funding for the wall, end catch and release, visa lottery and chain, and go to merit-based immigration. Go for it, win.
Now, this is very cryptic. What he's really saying is, I want the media who reported that I said that I was behind both of Ryan's bills, Paul Ryan, the Rhino, the Republican in name only, evil obstructionist who's really more of a Democrat than a Republican. Anyway.
No, he's a globalist.
He's a globalist. And Trump does not support either one of those. And he said that. He said it twice. And at the same time that he's saying it on air, in front of all of Americans, there are supposedly leaks from the White House that say that he supports both of them completely. Directly, according to these mainstream media reports, they had it directly from a White House staff member that Trump 100% supports Paul Ryan. Now, not even the whip, the majority whip of the Congress supports Paul Ryan. Nobody supports Paul Ryan except, as you say, globalists. And anyone who is supporting this is trying to take votes away from the Republicans in the midterm election. DACA and immigration is now the most important key factor. If Trump does not stick to his guns, which he's saying right here, how many times does he have to repeat this? He will not sign an immigration bill that does not have a full funding for the wall. That's $26 billion. Catch and release. Insane. People come to our borders, we catch them, we document them, we release them, and call them undocumented illegals. Thank you, Obama. Thank you, Schumer. These are Democrat-created immigration laws, and that's what he's complaining about.
Well, they're not
here.
Even laws. I mean, they were just
they're regulations.
A patchwork of executive orders and things that Obama put in place to subvert the fact that Congress would not pass these extensive immigration reforms.
Schumer had complete control to pass immigration bills before when Obama was in office, and he did not. And the bills, the immigration acts that we have now are really Democrat-generated. The Republicans would be much more strict. They would never, ever, ever, ever allow stupidity like catch and release. Catch a criminal. You can know that they are a murderer who just escaped from a Mexican prison. You catch them and you release them. Does this make any sense to anyone? And lottery? Okay, no. Lottery, that's how the criminals get in. That's how they get in all the spies.
No,
okay?
That's how the Democrats feel, try to make it seem fair. Why do we want a lottery? We want to take the very best people in the world that want to come to America. We're not a dumping place for criminals.
Merit-based immigration is what he says, and not a lottery. Because why? Criminals get into the lottery. Merit-based, you'd at least have a chance to look at it. He says, go for it and win. What he's saying is go for it and win and vote for what he's saying here. He's putting forth a bill, and it says there has to be a wall, border security, more money for the border, no catch and release, no visa lottery, no chain immigration. And then what he says, and he does not use the word DACA here, but this is DACA bashing, because we could go into the whole DACA thing. It isn't 700 or 800,000 DACA. They now admit it's 1.8, and that doesn't count their children or their parents or the chain lottery that would happen or any of that. So we have already told you it's more like 2.5 million if they give amnesty to them. Now, how many people are going to sneak in? All of those 2.5. Matter of fact, they even sue us. They have already sued us. The United States government, DACA members have sued us. Why are there DACA? Because just as you said, Obama kept not enforcing the regulations. He didn't let Congress create immigration laws. No, he simply destroyed them by not enforcing existing ones. That's where all this comes from, and that's why Trump keeps saying it's the Democrats. It's directly Obama. DACA is an Obama mess. Now, you can give some amnesty as a president to people who are in a war-torn or a political uprising or natural disasters. And so we gave to Honduras and El Salvador that. Obama did. Invited them in. Who do you think came in? MS-13. Once they got here, they invited all their friends to come up and jump over the border and get on in. And now we have the attack of illegal immigrants who are, in fact, not undocumented. We know who they are. That's the reason we can go pick them up. Because Obama documents them and then releases them. And in some cases, he actually puts them on airplanes and sends them from the border to New York.
Well,
how do you think they got up in these places?
You see,
this is the Democrats doing this.
No, it's more than that. It's the rogue CIA. It's George Soros. They fund these types of groups to come in and disrupt your nation and your communities. Now, we know them in other parts of the world as ISIS or ISIL or things like or Al-Qaeda. But you can't bring that group over here. So what they've done is they've brought, these are the troops. These are Soros's ground troops. They're called MS-13 here. They're as dangerous, and we need to take care of this. May we move on to the next one? Wow, what a tough sentence for Paul Manafort, who has represented Ronald Reagan, Bob Dole, and many other top political people in campaigns. Didn't know Manafort was the head of the mob. What about Comey and Crooked Hillary and all of the others? Very unfair.
Now, we've been talking about this before with his tweets. Paul Manafort, of course, got he had, for his bail, he had to put up every piece of property he had and every dime he had in the bank. When does that ever happen? Then he was locked up in his home, house arrest, with a tether. And then somehow, because they instructed him not to, a very vague instruction about he can't do this or that. They're saying he's tampering with witnesses. He called two people who were his friends. And they now lock him up for that. Okay, first off, the charges against Manafort are never going to hold, and they're being fought, and he is winning against Mueller. And so they had to put somebody in jail. And so when you see the big long list of indictments, now they have someone who's been locked up. Isn't that great? No, because you lock up people who are the mob, who are going to be flight risks, but certainly not Paul Manafort. He is in house arrest. That is absurd. And yes, when Trump says mob, he's referring to the people in the next tweet. That would be the Bush dynasty and the Clinton dynasty.
Well, let me read that.
No, wait. That's the mob. And what he's saying is they need to be locked up because we have their crimes. How many crimes do we have to have of Comey's, not only from the Inspector General, but right in front of our very eyes, all the perjury, all the lies, running basically in a weaponized attack of the FBI and DOJ and the CIA working against candidate Trump, President-elect Trump, and President Trump. This is absolutely illegal. Why aren't they locked up? Why isn't there? Why didn't they start another investigation into the emails of Hillary Clinton? Because it would only take 15 seconds to determine that many laws were broken and then she could go to jail. Why don't we look into what Comey did? All the perjuries, all the lies, all the leaks. He told the whole world he did all these things. Why are we standing back? Because of the next tweet.
I've had to beat 17 very talented people, including the Bush dynasty. Then I had to beat the Clinton dynasty. And now I have to beat a phony witch hunt and all of the dishonest people covered in the IG report. And never forget the fake news media. It never ends.
the operative word here is I. Nobody's helped him. Trump has stood up against the 17 candidates, knocked them all down. He stood up against Hillary, knocked her down. Stood up against Jeb, knocked him down. Stood up against the entire 17 intelligence agencies, knocked them all down. Stood up against the conspiracy of the FBI, CIA, and DOJ, State Department, knocked them down, knocking them out. Their evidence has now been made clear to the world. They can all be convicted if we had a Department of Justice that would actually do its job. And on top of that, the fake news. And what is defeating the fake news? These tweets, folks. These tweets got peace in North Korea. These tweets got China to finally bend for the first time. These tweets are taking down all of his opponents. Right here is the genius of what Trump is doing. Honesty. Truth, clear communication, direct communication. Don't let the leaks coming out of the White House yesterday, which were supposed to make Republicans lose votes in the upcoming election because it was insinuating that Trump was going to go with a stupid DACA deal that had no border in it, or the other deal that still had chain migration and all the other crap in it. He's not going for that. That was an attempt to make people look once and lose votes. Don't look once. Look many times and look at both sides. And when you hear the mainstream media say something, assume it's the opposite, because it is.
Okay, the next one is a picture, and you can look at the link below if you want to see what the picture is. I have a great relationship with Angela Merkel of Germany, but the fake news media only shows the bad photos, implying anger of negotiating an agreement, where I'm asking for things that no other American president would ask for. Now, this picture is the one that we all adore so much and has created so many fabulous memes. You know, the right, the conservatives, those patriots of you who are listening, boy, can we meme. And we know that these are information bombs and bullets that we can lodge in the internet, and they can scale all over the world in a matter of minutes. So keep them coming. But apparently the left is using this picture to imply that Trump is angry. And I didn't get that feeling.
That is just the mainstream media using basically propaganda pictures. Now let's look at the pictures that he set on his, that he tweeted out. Those pictures show that he was on a break and he sat down in the only comfortable chair in that entire area, which was an anteroom to the room they were meeting in. There was a stupid table there that they'd taken obviously the stuff off of. He sat down and they all gathered around him to beg for crumbs. Please. We all are evil. You know it. We're stealing from you. Please, Mr. President, be evil like us.
Because he's the sun and they're the planets around him.
Absolutely. And what happened there, that little table, they were all leaning over it trying to get to him to convince him that he should really let up on them and go ahead with the cheating and the lying and the parasitical blood-sucking vampirism that had been going on before. And what really happened? Look at the pictures. When Angela Merkel was coming at him angrily, how did he respond? He reached out and touched her hand with his hand, and then she laughed. You can see it in the pictures. So when she attacked him, and everyone was listening, because obviously they said, oh, Hitler's daughter is... Oh, sorry. Hitler's daughter. No, sorry. The woman who looks like Hitler's daughter and acts like Hitler's daughter comes over to attack Trump. He turns it all around and gets everyone to come in close, and then pretty soon they're laughing and having a good time, and he's telling them, I'm not changing my mind. What I said in there, I say out here. And then he crossed his arms, and they all realized that they were done in.
We have such a fabulous leader. You know, many times when I look at these tweets and I see him coming out, I think of George Patton up there in that great movie, you know, and we're the troops and we're getting in the instructions for the day. And folks, we need to continue to give this man our support.
Are you kidding? If we don't give him our support in the next elections and enough MAGA Republicans, we could still be done in, folks.
Yes, but we've got a good track record right now, and we just got to keep that momentum.
He's winning. Yes. He's won. He lists everybody he's won against. He needs to list every country in the world he also fought against who is stealing from us, which is every country, and we're winning on that. In trade, in USAID, in military, in making NATO pay for itself, in denuclearization, everything.
Yes, the next one there is another group of pictures. The fake news media said that I did not get along with other leaders at the G7 summit in Canada. They are once again wrong. And there are pictures of Macron and Trudeau and others in this collage.
What I want to know is, how did Macron's wife let him out of the house without her? Because, he didn't have anything to say except stupid. And Justin, look at the outfit he's in this picture with Trump. He went and changes outfits in between meetings. This is who you have as a person leading Canada.
But his eyebrows are attached to his head in that picture right there.
He might have taken them off. I believe that he already has...
No, I feel like that's the full bush over there on his eye there.
Look close. When the eyebrow fell off, you saw a tattooed eyebrow underneath. He's probably shaved his entire body. He's bald, obviously. Look at the very, very bad wig he's wearing.
Okay, now we're attacking the person. We're not supposed to do that.
No, I'm just saying. They want to show bad pictures.
But then you've got Theresa May. Theresa May, I just saw a video of her in a hijab in a mosque. This is just a recent picture.
Worshipping Mohammed.
Yeah. What's that about?
What do they call it? Londonistan? Mm-hmm. Now, the other pictures show Trump hanging with Justin and hanging with Macron, and they're just having a good old time laughing it up, and Justin doesn't want to let go of his hand. Well, you see that every time that Justin is shaking anybody's hand. He doesn't let go of it. He is a really odd person. Now, we have the Canadians for the first time getting some fire in their belly, and they're going to resist us in trade. You can't. You already stole all you can. You're not going to steal anymore. You can't win. I don't know what they think they're doing, but they're using the Trudeau logic. They're using Justin logic in this one. And the pictures show that he is a laughing stock. I'm sorry, but it's just look at the pictures.
Yeah, okay. All right, now on the next one, we have a picture of Trump with the EU leaders, and I'm going to read that tweet. Why in the world is the EU there in a G7 meeting? These EU people, they're not a country. I mean, I know they want to gobble up all the nations in Europe, but why are they there?
The EU is George Soros' nation. And they, steal $151 billion from us in trade. They don't pay their NATO bills. We defend them. They rip us off. They have unelected officials. So they are fascism.
So the tweet reads, great discussions with European Union Commission President Jean-Claude Juncker and EU Council President Donald Tusk.
If you have any doubt about what I'm saying, go listen to the talk that Donald Tusk gave after the G7 meeting, and you will hear someone speaking like Stalin, Hitler, and George Soros rolled into one. I have never heard a public official, but this one is unelected, speak in such terms. He spoke as if he were a democratic fascist who was telling us what to do and telling us the way it's going to go and saying he's in control personally in control. I was so insulted by his words that he scared me. And I don't get scared easily. The last time that anyone sounded like that was George H.W. Bush when he was telling us about the New World Order. This guy might as well be the megaphone of George Soros. And the pictures show Trump hanging out with them. Trump is hanging out with unelected Soros agents who are pure evil, and he is winning them over, and he's winning the day for Americans. And that's what is really going on in that picture. And notice the looks on their faces. That's as nice as they can look, okay? That's as nice as those two characters can look. And they look like they have just committed evil, and they intend to do more.
They're responsible for all this refugee stuff over there in Europe right now. And it's a great way to totally annihilate the European countries, obliterate their borders, and gobble them up.
These are the same people who 28 nations just voted underneath their control, those two people, to get all of the migrants out of Europe, because if they don't, in 5 years there will be no more nations in Europe. There will be no European Union. There will be no Europe. And then they come over and want to argue about tariffs, and they want to steal more. It's unbelievable what Trump has to put up with. I don't know how he does it.
Okay, the next one is a retweet, and it reads, the Democrats are forcing the breakup of families at the border with their horrible and cruel legislative agenda. Any Democrats can fix their forced family breakup at the border by working with Republicans on new legislation for a change. This is why we need more Republicans elected in November. Democrats are good at only 3 things: high taxes, high crime, and obstruction. Sad. Let me add, it's not just any Republicans. We don't want Republicans who are globalists like Paul Ryan or Mitch McConnell. These people, they need to go. And the other thing is people in Utah, I don't want to see Mitt Romney up there. We already know he is one huge, nasty, awful, corrupt globalist.
I just want to point out, Betsy, that all the lies about children being in cages, those are lies. Those are lies. You stand back and look at the picture. The cages the children are in are part of a demonstration, a democratic left-wing demonstration paid for by NGOs that are supported by Open Society, which is a No Borders foundation, and that is, of course, completely supported by George Soros. So the pictures you're seeing of children in cages are George Soros demonstrations. The children aren't in cages. Stand back and look at the pictures. It's just a wall of a cage and a child's behind it, and the child is crying. I don't know what they did to him to make them cry because their parents are standing right behind them. Those are fake pictures, folks.
It could be photoshopped.
No, they are fake. We know exactly where they came from.
I showed on this morning's Truth News headlines what's really going on, and the children have nice facilities.
There are no children in cages. Now, let me tell you what is really going on, because nobody seems to mention this. And I'm sorry, maybe some people mention it.
Well, there may be children in
cages
cages from the human trafficking that these people are doing.
Well, certainly there's a lot of children in cages who are being then trafficked into America, held. We just found these encampments where they do horrible things to these people trying to get into the country. So everyone who supports these open borders supports murder, rape, human trafficking. And Trump has created a national emergency to fight that and other crimes. But what's really going on is the following. Anchor babies, right? If you can steal a child in Mexico and come across that border and get in this country, you can say that child was born here, and then you get to stay here, right? It's your way in. The children are your ticket. So when they see someone coming across the board with a child, most of the time it's not their child. No one would subject their child to being killed, murdered, and raped in the most dangerous zone in North and South America, which is the Mexico-U.S. border. Wars are going on there. 114 officials, major officials, have been assassinated in Mexico in the last 10 months. We have a massive war. Why would anyone bring their child through there? Now, what happens is, when a child comes across the border, it doesn't matter who they're with. They're taken because they're with criminals. The child didn't commit a crime, but the adult that they say they're with is a criminal. That is a criminal. There's nobody we're giving asylum to. Name a country we're giving asylum to that is walking across the border. You see. So what happens is they separate all children and they wash them, clean them, clothe them, give them food, and then try to determine who they are. And when they can't, unfortunately, we are stuck with them because of Obama and the Democrats' current regulations and poor immigration policies. Children are taken from their parents. You lying piece of manure idiots who say these things. Have you been there? Do you have any idea what's going on in our border? You obviously haven't seen any of the pictures. You haven't seen anything going on, because what just happened with the caravan? What happened to those children? Oh, did we take them? Did we separate them from their parents? No, we had to catch and release. We had to give asylum to anybody who could say that they were from a country that they might assume there's asylum, and then they would make up some nonsense. Here's what you get asylum for now. If your husband doesn't treat you properly, you can claim that as a reason to get asylum in America. We have to take the children from those criminals. The adults are criminals. In most cases, they are criminals fleeing prosecution. So the people who make up this nonsense, and the reason Trump has to keep hammering on this is because they did get these pictures, which were fake pictures, and they said the children were being separated from their parents and at the border. This is a complete friggin' lie. when they take them, they also document these. There's hardly such a thing as an undocumented illegal. They are documented, but then because of chain migration, because of catch and release, because of no borders, because of anchor children, because of DACA.
Okay, another thing too here is a drill down on this. Democrats are good at only three things: high taxes, high crime, and obstruction. You see, this is becoming more and more apparent that the Democrats are really the party of the globalists, of the George Soroses out there that want to destroy America. And that's why you've got Nancy Pelosi saying the things that she says. I mean, you go, why in the world would you not allow Americans to have these tax breaks? Why would you want higher taxes? Why aren't you advocating sanctuary cities? That's because these people, these Democrats, are enemies of our sovereign nation.
They're playing to the 20 million illegals. High taxes are to keep those who pay taxes always in a state of stress, always in a prison planet state, always in control, always in fear.
Always in debt.
And always having to pay for the people
Yes.
who don't pay taxes. And then what happens? The rich people, those are high crimes. That's Hillary. $2 billion she's stolen with her foundation. We know, I can name $345 million right now that she is currently being investigated for and probably will not be prosecuted. And then obstruction, why? Because of obstruction. Because of the DOJ allows Hillary off, Comey off, McCabe off. Allow all of them off as long as they're with their friends.
But the good news is the Democrats don't have anybody on their bench to run for president. They've run through them all. They can't find anybody. So we may be seeing the total destruction of the Democrat Party here.
They only have Barack Obama. They're sticking with Pelosi. If they stick with Pelosi, then that's the best thing they can do for the Republican Party.
I'm thinking that maybe Mitt Romney could run as a Democrat.
That's an excellent idea.
Okay.
Because he's a traitor. Now, why doesn't Obama come out to help them? Because every day, well, at least every week, new crimes that he committed, we find out. So if he goes out in public, which he hasn't, have you noticed almost all of his talks have been private? Some of them have been secret. So what they're going to do is they're not going to go talk to anybody and have to answer a question about their crimes. Mr. President, it's now come out that with the EPA, you actually stole the offshore waters of America and kept them from blah, 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 blah. What do you have to say about? Oh, no. I want to say support the Democrats. No, Mr. President.
Well, you're talking about President Obama.
If Obama comes out, they're going to ask him questions. He can't answer any of them.
He can't answer anything.
So he's going to manipulate through what? Netflix. Just like the other person who was going to run, who will be shot down because she's a criminal, Oprah. She's going to manipulate Apple.
Right.
And this is called
Susan
programming.
Rice. Well, the thing is, Thomas, is that they don't have the ability to create new content because they're not creators. So they're going to have to take from old shows. They have to rerun and do sequels to old movies. They're running out of content. And they look at Oprah from her years of success and they go, okay, Oprah can do it for us. No, Oprah can't do it for you because we've already seen pictures of her with Weinstein. We know her dirt. That's not going to work for you either.
And then they have control of Hollywood, and that is the propaganda they wish to spread. So they want to make sure that nothing truthful ever comes into Netflix, like documentaries or anything like that. No truth comes out of Hollywood. It's all lies.
They have documentaries. They're puff pieces for the cabal.
I mean, good, truthful documentaries. So they're going to control the programming of Netflix, the largest, and Apple. Okay, who are these people? Michelle was insinuated to run for president again. Obama said that he would run and he would win if he could. And Oprah at one point has said she would consider, matter of fact, they ran it to see if she would win. No, she'll get caught for her crimes. Mm-hmm. She has gone to Jeffrey Epstein's island probably more than any other person. She and Jeffrey Epstein, I think even they share things together. I won't go into what, but let's just say they're the same.
Continue on with the tweets
So
here.
if you look closely at Oprah, how does Oprah get to the power she's had? Same way Jeffrey Epstein got to it. I won't go into that in great detail, but that's what was revealed. That's why she's not running for president.
My supporters are the smartest, strongest, most hardworking, and most loyal that we have seen in our country's history. It is a beautiful thing to watch as we win elections and gather support from all over the country. As we get stronger, so does our country. Best numbers yet.
This is the Trump Republican National Party, folks. And it is winning. It is sweeping America. It is the red tsunami. And what he's talking about here is that in the IG report, you have Agent 1 and Agent 5, who go unnamed, which is just amazing that there's 5 agents. They only named 2 of them. Very strange. And they didn't redact it either. They're just going to hide it. Probably because they're SES members. Anyway, so these 2, Agent 1, Agent 5, just criticized Trump's people, saying that they're stupid, they're uninformed, and they're POS. You know what that means?
Yes.
Okay, so he says, no, that ain't right. There's the smartest, strongest, most hardworking, and loyal in history. In history is really what he's saying, and this is true.
So keep it up, folks. We really are winning, and you've got to keep pushing out the information. We need to educate and enlighten even more people before the elections are held.
And this is all over the country, all 50 states. It's sweeping everywhere, best numbers ever. He speaks and endorses somebody, and they win even though they're the underdog. So what he's saying is he is leading a movement, and we should be proud to be part of it because it is the best in history. It's the best numbers in history. It's the most winning in history.
Bob Corker, after his defeat, called it the Trump cult. And it is. It's a cult of winning. American people have been so beaten down for decades, and just decades. And we're tired of it. And we know America is great. We've read the Constitution. We've read the Bill of Rights. And if we apply that in our country and we downsize the federal government and get things back to the state, we are going to have a renaissance in this country like you cannot imagine, and people all over the world will be able to celebrate with us in that, because once it starts here, it's going to spread everywhere. Now, the next tweet is given to us twice, and so I interpret that, Thomas, to mean that POTUS really wants you to drill down on this one. So are you ready?
Yeah, because it was tweeted at 2 different times.
Yes, at 2 different times.
And it wasn't a butt tweet.
No. Okay. The IG report totally destroys James Comey and all of his minions, including the great lovers Peter Strzok and Lisa Page, who started the disgraceful witch hunt against so many innocent people. It will go down as a dark and dangerous period in American history.
The fact that Strzok and Page were lovers, they both have to lose their security clearance, and nothing they ever did during that time when they were compromised with their 55,000 sex texts. And all the sex and all the personal stuff has been removed. That's why we've only seen about a little over, almost 300 of them. And the ones we've seen are the most damnable things in history. As a matter of fact, it makes it the dark and dangerous period in American history. Weaponized DOJ, weaponized State Department, weaponized Department of Justice, weaponized CIA, weaponized NSA, and weaponized Office of the Director of National Intelligence.
Aimed right at the American citizen.
This is the darkest moment in American history, that the federal agencies have turned against the people. Remember, we elected him. We are the majority, and we are the ones who pay taxes. We're not the 20 million undocumented, which are documented, illegal aliens who voted for the Democrats, and they still lost. We are the people. We are citizens, and we are tired of mainstream media, the Democrats, and the idiots out there who don't understand that you are being swept over by a tsunami and all of the illegal machinations that have gone on for decades, if not centuries, practically, because they come from Britain all the way back to Rome.
We've tracked it all the way back.
This is this normal evil. It's the way that it proceeds. And what he's saying here is this is so dark, but he also says that he wins. Because just like James Comey came out and said, all the crimes Hillary did, and then he said, but no reasonable prosecutor would take this case. Wrong, but he named all the crimes. The IG named some of the crimes, and they're enough to hang Comey and his minions. Minions being
Senior Executive Service, basically.
Yes, but what we always called Comey's bunk buddies. James Baker, Page, Strzok, or the whole connection to Christopher Steele, who actually worked for the FBI and was paid, Stephen Halper, who worked for the FBI and was paid, so on. All, those minions. We're talking about the spies, the informants. We're talking about the Brits. We're talking about Christopher Steele. We're talking about Alexander Chalupa. All of them. This, when you hear what we paint, it is the darkest picture that has ever happened in American history, because it has yet to be completely brought to light and those people indicted and convicted. But in time, we believe that will happen because we believe that in the 8-year...
They'll never gain more power than they had.
They're going to,
never.
exactly. They're going to lose power every
yes.
moment that he's the president.
Yes.
That's why our Constitution, U.S. Bill of Rights, our republic depends upon Trump being reelected and making sure that enough Republicans are there who are MAGA so that they can make things go forward, and getting out Paul Ryan, who's a rhino, getting out Mitch McConnell, who's a rhino. These are obstructionists also. They're globalist obstructionists, and McConnell is a thief.
And we need to get China
so is his wife.
China Chow out too. What is the Department of Transportation Secretary doing with all these China deals on the side?
And another reason it's a dark period in American history is because the IG comes out and brings no indictments, no charges, and there are no convictions. As a matter of fact, the only insinuation is that Andrew McCabe leaked and that he's got lawyers who are defending him, okay, instead of him going straight to jail like anyone in the military would do if this happened. And that's why security clearances are now going to be done by the military, because then these people go straight to jail for these crimes. Because when you abdicate, when you go against and you violate your security agreements, it says in them, you go straight to jail. I signed so many of them. If I did one thing wrong, I would have gone to jail for hundreds of years.
But you didn't have a Department of Justice and a Jeff Sessions and a Rod Rosenstein covering your butt. No. That's the difference. These people have the Department of Justice protecting them from their criminal activity.
Instead of the Uniform Code of Military Justice, which just says, is this your signature on this piece of paper? Yes. Take him to jail.
Right. Don't pass go. Okay.
Do not collect $200.
Next tweet and a round off of today's tweets. This is a retweet, and it is a video of Trump. So I've got that in the link if you want to look at it. Americans must demand lawmakers support the legislation we need to defeat MS-13.
Again, as I said before, MS-13 are criminals brought here by Obama. They brought them here, as Betsy said, as the Soros plan to destabilize us so that they can then economically prey on us. That's what the Purple Revolution is. That's what this coup against Trump is. That's what the Mueller investigation is. That's what the obstructionist activity in Washington, D.C. directly against him. That's what the leaks are about. That's why MSM is doing what it's doing, because Obama and Al Sharpton and Loretta Lynch and Valerie Jarrett said, get out on the street. Even while he was the president, he said, Al Sharpton said, right with Obama standing next to him, this will be the summer of riots in every city in America.
All heard it.
And then Obama stepped over there and said, yes, it will be. You need to get out and to speak up. And while he was the president, he incited riots. And then when he was not the president, he has led the resistance.
And don't forget Loretta Lynch, blood in the streets.
Blood in the streets, she said, after she resigned, because of, really, she had to run away from her manipulation. Well, we can go into all the reasons she resigned, but Comey said she committed this big crime, and that was because she manipulated the New York Police Department with the Anthony Weiner laptop, blah, blah, blah. But the point is, she's a criminal. She met with Bill Clinton on the tarmac, and she certainly did throw the Hillary Clinton email investigation. Anyone who doesn't know that just didn't look at the facts. So, what are we talking about here? We're talking about the mob of Chicago under Valerie Jarrett, who used to be the Assistant Chief of Staff to Mayor Daley, the biggest political mob city boss in history, maybe, certainly American history. She ran that. Michelle Obama, she was her handler. Then she was Barack Obama's handler. And then she's the one who connected him to Rahm Emanuel, the largest Jewish fundraiser in America. She's the one who got him out of that church that was a black nationalist church and guided him towards running for Congress and for Senate. And then she directed it all. And she's now where? She's in the bunker, still receiving...
No, she's hiding from Roseanne Barr tweets.
Yes, and that's correct. And she's trying to change her looks, hopefully. Because she is a nasty, ugly person in every way. Just take a look. Just take a look at any picture of her. Look at her face. She was responsible for basically controlling Obama and making sure that Soros got his way. While she was his handler, just call it, not chief of staff, what did she have? She had more Secret Service protecting her than Michelle Obama had, and still does. That fortress they built, which is protected by the Secret Service, Obama's never there. We pay for that. Thank you very much, we the people. That's because Valerie Jarrett is a criminal. She can't go anywhere without massive security protecting her. She's still leading the resistance. She's still telling Eric Holder what to do in the gerrymandering in Pennsylvania and throughout America. She's still telling the OFA, which illegally took his old $10 million from Soros, changed it into what he calls his troops on the street. And basically, who are they? They're Antifa. They're Black Lives Matter. They are fascists. They are basically... MS-13 is nothing more than an extension of OFA. Betsy, it is such an honor to help and try our best to decode these tweets. President Trump has to put many things in between the lines. These are rich. I'm going to admit it. For our listeners and for our subscribers, I still go read the Q-tard messages every day, there are some. And folks, they're so silly, they're ridiculous. Come to the tweets, come to the tea drops, because here is where the real truth is. This is where history's being made and the future is being planned. You want the plan? The plan is in between the lines of these tweets. And if you can't see that, we're showing you. If you think for 1 minute...
Because we say, don't trust the plan. We say, work the plan.
Work the plan. And the deal is there is so much, a double entendres, and there's so many insinuations and innuendos in these that you would have to be a genius to understand what he's really saying. We only get part of it because he's a genius. And what he's really saying here is he's planting meme seeds. He's planting sound bites that grow. He's planting little ideas in people's minds, sometimes with just a 2-word image or a 1-word image, but they don't go away. This is what you would call positive programming instead of Obama and Oprah programming that's going to be on the other channels. And mainstream media is buying up Fox News. And guess what's going to happen? It'll be just like all the rest. Unfortunately, Betsy, we're going to be some of the few out here. And so what we have to do is we have to keep pushing no matter how long in the day we have to work, late into the night.
We're retired, and this is our gift to all of you out there, that we call the news, we analyze the news, we give it to you the way we would if you were sitting in our living room or having a glass iced tea out on the porch with us.
Truth News Headlines puts out a fortune for all we do. So this is a gift to all of the subscribers, and it's a wonderful thing, and sometimes we have to work late into the night, so I got to get home. So to everyone out there and all of our subscribers, say good night, Betsy.
Good night, Betsy.